3.5 months ago, Behavior held the 8th anniversary livestream for Dead by Daylight. In it, we got a bunch of surprises, reveals, and information on future content. But today, I'm going to be focusing on the roadmap we were given for Year 9, more specifically, Chapter 35, and how it's confirmed to be a licensed killer paragraph. I already made a video on this chapter back in May, but things have changed since then. Of course, a FNAF Collab got confirmed for the summer of 2025, so that's no longer an option. And going back to the aforementioned video, the only choices remaining are Jason Voorhees, Predator, Slenderman, and Candyman. Originally, I put them in this order of most to least likely, but after thinking on it some more, I honestly believe Jason Voorhees is now the most likely option for Chapter 35. So without further delay, let's get right into it. First, what makes Jason Voorhees so likely to come into DBD in general, if not for Chapter 35 specifically? I've already covered most of these points in my last Chapter 35 video, so I won't go too in depth. Feel free to watch that video after this one if you want more details. On May 16th, the Jason Universe was announced, an initiative to release more Friday the 13th content. Furthermore, shortly afterward, Jason entered Multiversus, the first collaboration the franchise has seen in a long time. And on Twitter, Jason Universe follows Fortnite and Call of Duty, so it's reasonable to assume we'll see a collab with those games too. And with the license this active, I would be shocked if Dead by Daylight misses out. I mean, Matthew Cote has stated on multiple occasions he has a standing invitation to the game. So with all of this in mind, I'd say this collab isn't a matter of if, but rather of when. Speaking of when, remember that the Jason Universe was announced on May 16th. This, of course, ignores the fact it was most likely in the works for weeks, if not months beforehand. Combine this with the fact DBD chapters are confirmed to take 9 to 12 months to develop, and Chapter 35 lines up pretty well. At the very least, it's the earliest we'll see the collab happen, since Chapter 34 is confirmed to be original. And while they could be scheduling it way ahead of time, it seems very likely we'll at least have them in the game before 2026, which only leaves Chapters 35, 36, aka the 9th anniversary, 37, and 38. Keep this in mind, it'll be important later. Next, I'd like to talk about the FNAF Collab, and just how much it changes things. Of course, as previously mentioned, it can't be Chapter 35 anymore, but that's not the only effect this announcement has on the killer paragraph. As I've mentioned several times in previous videos, Behavior tries to balance out original and licensed chapters when possible, proven both by how many times they've said it, as well as just looking at their chapters. This isn't always followed, like when we got 3 original chapters in a row with Descend Beyond, A Binding of Kin, and All Kill, but it's still a reliable way to guess if a chapter is original or licensed. Why is this relevant? Well, again, Chapter 35 is confirmed to be licensed, and while we don't 100% know when the FNAF chapter is, summer 2025 could only mean Chapter 36 or Chapter 37, the former being more likely in my opinion. That doesn't matter though, just that FNAF has to be 36 or 37. This means that 2 out of 4 chapters in 2025 are guaranteed to be licensed. So if Jason Voorhees does indeed come into Dead by Daylight next year, and if he's any chapter aside from 35, that means at least 3 licensed chapters in 1 year. It's not impossible that happens, but in all of DBD's history, it has not once happened before. If you don't believe me, refer to this list I made of all DBD chapters, according to both DBD years and calendar years. We have had 3 licensed chapters in a DBD year before, but never a calendar year. There is a first for everything, but I think it's fair to say Jason Voorhees is looking incredibly likely for Chapter 35. Lastly, there's a potential counter-argument I'd like to address. The fact that a Friday the 13th chapter would fit much more as a full one, with a survivor and a map on top of a killer. And while I wholeheartedly agree with this, that may not be up to Behavior. If I recall correctly, the lawsuit ended in some sort of compromise between the 2 parties, though the specifics aren't known. What if one of these parties, the one behind Jason Universe and the one DBD gets the license through, only has access to Jason Voorhees? In other words, what if they don't have the rights to Tommy Jarvis and Camp Crystal Lake? This would explain why we get a paragraph instead of a full chapter, as I'm sure the latter is what Behavior would prefer if given the choice. For clarification, this is just an idea, and I have no clue whether or not it's true. But even if it's not, I still believe all of the information given today is enough to suggest that, in 6 months' time, it's very likely we'll be seeing Jason Voorhees himself step into the fog. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to like and subscribe if you want to see more like it. Only 3.5% of people who watch my videos are actually subscribed, so I'd really appreciate it. If you have anything to say about the video, the theory itself, or you just want to say hi, feel free to leave a comment and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. I respond to pretty much all of them. And if you really want to show your support, consider becoming a channel member. For just $3 a month, you get a bunch of perks. In fact, you could have seen this video early if you were a member. On that note, huge shout out to Staniswag and Mario Blue, currently my only 2 channel members. One last thing before I end off though. About now the end screen should appear, featuring 2 of my previous videos. They both give more context to this one, and clicking on one will help let you to know this video was good, and it'll recommend it more. But regardless, I hope you all have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you in the next one.